And I think with the outdoors in particular, you often hear, "Oh, keep politics separate. Like, let's just enjoy nature." So, what would your response be to that idea that the outdoors and nature is not political?
Oh my God, my response. Ooh. Is to melt right in my hiking boots and like just die. Anyways, I think my response is that like the outdoors is so political, so political. Like the reason why we have those spaces is like political. And if you look at the history, right, like the reason why we have national parks is like wild. It's so wild. And then like we talk about like who, and then if you even think even further of like who are the people that occupied that land before it was designated as a park or like an outdoor space, and what happened to those folks, and like what is going on with them right now, because they are still with us, they're still here, their voices, they are like using those voices to fight just as hard to protect those lands. I mean, like you're wearing a Bears Ears shirt, like that was part of the huge conversation with like that piece of land in particular, right? And so I think like as people who go into outdoor spaces and experience them for what them they are, like we just have to recognize that like everything around us is there because of the politics of it. And I mean, I know that's like such a bummer sometimes because we go into those outdoor spaces to kind of like get a buffer from that world and do some healing and like get space from it all. But it's hard not to recognize that like there are resources in those spaces that have been fought over forever, whether that be water, whether that be the land itself, whether that be the people on the land. Like it's wild. And then also like really the Transit to Trails Act was one for me that's like, of course it's political, right? Like how many people don't get to access our national parks because there's not public transit to those places? Like you have to have a car or whatever. And so what people are told then that like national parks aren't for them because they can't get there. And that's political, right? Like if we made a message and like put resources towards getting public transit into outdoor spaces, like that sends a message that everyone can enjoy the outdoors. But that infrastructure is not there right now. So it's hard to see a perspective that maybe isn't your own. And I think that is part of like what it means to be an important advocate in the outdoors, and to just recognize that like when you're in outdoor spaces, there's a narrative there. And yeah, I think it's important to like question that narrative and be critical about what that narrative is.
And so I'm wondering, how would you describe your own path and your own identity as becoming the outdoor leader that you are today?
Wild. My path has been wild. I think I was reflecting on this a lot. Um, I have a friend now that we went to college together and we like to go hiking now. And we joked around that in college, like, you never would have seen me hiking. Like outdoors, what? And so like my journey has just looked really different. And it was, I grew up going to church camps, and I think like that was one of my main connectors. My family like car camped on the weekends every once in a while. So I knew what the outdoors was, and had like some skills in it. And I think like a big catalyst for it was just like keep getting thrown into these, like, I know that I had skill sets to be an outdoor leader in terms of like taking care of people and like creating an outdoor community, and people kept recognizing that in me. And so when I got my position with OA, like part of that was because I was trying to get a master's degree in higher education, but I think my experience in OA helped unlock a little bit for me that like I can be a part of a group of people that like develops these skills for people that makes them feel really confident. And so when I left OA, I started to realize like, oh, I have the skills I need to like feel safe in the outdoors, to feel like I can hike a couple days on my own or even camp a couple days on my own and like feel safe. And so I think OA for me gave me the skills I needed to like just like the safety piece, right? We talk about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs in higher ed. And so I felt like I got some of those basics down. And then from there, I was able to like grow even more so in terms of like, what do I want this to mean for my personal life? And so personally, like I enjoy hiking. I've joined a lot of outdoor groups that are like affinity spaces for me. So whether that be outdoors in the LGBTQ community or outdoors in the Asian community, like, and I've just found a lot of personal support through those things. And then I think it's also still cultivating, like I use my outdoor skills when I work with my RAs and I want to lead a hike. And for me, it's been my like outdoor journey has also been really tied to my journey in with my mental health and like what does it mean to cultivate my love of nature, my relationship with nature as a way to live a full life and like live a healthy life for me. And so I think those are like big things that just keep getting woven in between each other. And like now the outdoors is it just makes up kind of part of who I am. And people know me as somebody that likes to do those things and is skilled um, enough to like enjoy the outdoors. So I'm always happy to pass that information on to others. And I think that's the small way we build relationships. And I think the outdoors is about building relationships for me.
Mhm. And I think I mean, I've seen from you and as you're talking, the words comfort. I think you're comfortable because you've become competent,
Mhm.
and and I think that leads to you being confident, and not just in the outdoors, but in other aspects of your life as well. And it's exciting to see you as a leader in the communities that you identify with, particularly because those communities might not be as represented as some of the historical communities that have been accessing these places. So well, I want to be mindful of our time. Love catching up and hearing your story, and excited that you're going to be a little bit closer to us. And thanks for taking some time with us today.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to talk to folks. If you are virtually hiking with OA, good luck. And I'm just proud that you are taking it on.